particularly if you work in the luxury market, words like exclusive and custom are very important. That's what they're accustomed to. So I always put together a custom plan. Now, I don't care if that's a $100,000 listing or a $1 million listing, everyone gets the same exact process. Their presentation might differ a little bit, but I always include their name, their address, prepared exclusively for or especially for, and also a picture of the property. Okay. My seller questionnaire is step 1 for me. I can share these documents with you if you'd like. You can email me after, but this is 3 pages of questions and also a checklist of things that the sellers need to be working on before the property's listed. So I'm always preparing and sort of getting as much background information as I can in advance. I include this is my personal checklist for my client files. But if you notice at the top, I have a section called, at the bottom, a section called property due diligence. This is part of my value proposition to my clients. Yes, it takes a little work, and yes, you're taking a chance, but you're taking a chance by going to the listing anyway, so you might as well give it your best. For me, I do a full research of the property before I meet with the sellers. So I am getting a copy of the deed, so I make sure I have all the correct signers. I'm getting building permits. So I can, fill out disclosures and let them know what work was done when and was it professionally done. Covenants and restrictions, budgets, condo regulations, anything I can get my hands on. In my area, we have septic systems that can also be a big hiccup in a transaction. So I'm collecting everything I can get my hands on so that I can become an expert on that property when I walk through the door. Okay. So my research in the property is considered part of my listing resume. This is just a random example, but I always include my agent resume and a copy of my license. This is something new. So a lot of agents are using testimonials in their presentations. I'm starting to use online reviews, just a snapshot of what my online reviews are, mainly because a written testimonial can be cherry-picked, where your online reviews are just an unbiased review. It can't be changed. The other thing that I do a little differently, but on that note with recommendations and referrals, is I'll offer the seller the contact information for my last 3 transactions. So instead of putting written testimonials in my presentations, I just give them the contact information for my last 3 deals. And I do that because good, bad, or ugly, those are my last 3 transactions. So rather than me cherry picking and giving the phone number to my best friend, they know that they'll get a better shot at an honest recommendation. Okay, sorry. So what else goes into my listing resume? I am huge on market preparation. So I do a pre-home inspection for every one of my listings. That's part of the resume is, in the custom marketing plan, is putting together a comprehensive list of what you plan to do for that home. Some of it's on you, some of it's on the owner, and putting together the perfect marketing plan. Professional photos, of course, live video walkthrough I do for every listing, a list of amenities and features for the property, a list of, I'm sorry, I think somebody has to mute, maybe Sarah. Historical summary of the property. I'll also go through here for $100, you can hire the Historical Society and they will do a research on that property and write up a beautiful report with historic photos. I will invest in that prior to meeting a potential seller. Available financing, floor plans, lot measurements, surveys, anything I can do to help tell the story of that property. My pre-listing inspection has helped me win a lot of listings in the past year. My sellers do pay for that on their own. I pay for everything else. When I explain it to them in dollars and cents, they understand that this can give them a big leg up. So either we disclose issues in advance so they cannot be negotiated later, or we are fixing the issues before it hits the market, and usually for less money. Feature sheets, really important, especially right now. So I sometimes will put together a feature sheet in advance of the listing appointment. So I'm walking into the listing appointment and showing them marketing materials as if I've already listed their home. Okay. The comprehensive part is important because it makes you look organized. It makes you look like the sellers maintain their house. But right now, most importantly, it's a huge help to appraisers, particularly for exterior only appraisals. Flood insurance, where I'm from, we're the ocean state. So we have a lot of oceanfront properties, a lot of properties in floodplains, and that can affect the buying power of a purchaser. So that's part of what we put together. This is from the Historical Society. Again, any historic photos, any photos of the property in other seasons, anything I can do to really elaborate and tell the story of that house on paper. Okay, here's something that I'll do for condominiums. If I'm trying to win over a condominium, here we have a lot of conversions. So you might have anywhere from 3 to 6 units in a house. So they're not significant, and many of them don't have ginormous budgets. So I'll put, and they're owner managed. So I'll put together, I'll actually make a logo for the association and I'll present with the logo on letterhead. They seem to like that. Floor plans. This is standard for me right now. Every property is getting a Matterport, okay? And every property is getting, this is actually a live video. I got a listing, it's going on tomorrow, just for these two things. I listed his daughter's house a month ago. He loved the way it was marketed. He ended up hiring me and not his realtor of 20 years. So the way that we market the properties matters a lot. And I think considering all eyes are online right now, you know, I have to think that there are sellers shopping for their next listing agent via social media and whatnot. I really like this. I love the heartfelt stuff because it really humanizes the transaction. But this is a friend of mine in Massachusetts who, when she lists the property, she'll take a video, just an iPhone video of her seller explaining what the highlights of that home are. When she posts on her social media, you know, it's not 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It's, here are the 3 things that my seller loves most about living in this house. So it just personalizes the story. And I really like that. Everyone loves the video. Everyone loves a good story. Photos from, you know, if you have before and after pictures, if you have pictures from the past of the family, you know, what it looked like before something was built, or how the family, you know, used to use the house, whether it's a swimming pool or it's, you know, whatever feature that house has. Same thing here. I saw this at an open house actually. The sellers just wrote a handwritten letter welcoming the buyers to their home, saying what they loved about their home, and framed it and put it on the counter for the open house goers. Gosh, I'm having problems here. I love the idea of virtual reality. I actually looked into this. So the camera itself, for an inexpensive one, you can buy one for about $100, and create virtual reality boxes that are branded for you and your business. I really like that as a giveaway at an open house. I like that if you live in a second home market and you've got buyers that you could mail those to, right? I think it's a nice touch. I use Drew Coleman. I use Drew Coleman's examples a lot. He's an agent out of Portland, Oregon. And he's just very out of the box, but yet classic at the same time. Sorry, I'm not sure if you guys are getting feedback. So in his Matterport tours, he hides that little Sasquatch man to try to keep more eyeballs on his tours on Instagram. And I love that. So these can all be part of your marketing ideas. Right now, obviously, there's no broker tours going on or caravans or anything like that. So doing online home tours has become really important. I'm showing all of these examples to a potential seller, by the way, at a listing appointment to let them know some of the things that we do, and then you sort of pick and choose from the menu to see what fits for that client. Here's some before and afters. I would definitely use those. I like this, especially if you're in a city. I live downtown, so if I was selling my house, I would definitely proximity to some of those popular things. This is a copy of a marketing plan that I did for a client. My suggestion to you is this. So it's my job to study all of the competitors, see what they're doing, and then, I sort of do things differently. Study your competition and do what they're not doing, right? What I can tell you is the majority of agents present a listing presentation that is completely vanilla. It just basically says, I'm going to put a sign up in your front yard. I'm going to put it in MLS. Yay. Well, I would hope that you were going to do all those things and maybe some other things too. I would get very specific, and I would talk about, especially if you're big on social media, if you're doing Facebook advertising, if you're doing anything that has metrics on it at all, report those metrics as part of your listing presentation. I also would do that. Part of my marketing plan is feedback on a weekly basis where I'm sending these reports to the seller so that it's, coming from someone other than me, third party data. Pricing recommendations. For me, I want it to be an open conversation with people. So it should kind of be like, you want them to hire you because they're confident that you'll get their house sold for the most amount of money, right? Anyone can sell it. You come up with the plan so that both the agent and the sellers agree on what's in it. So I have standard things that I do for every listing, and then I have things that, I might have a house that's got some special features and maybe I need some drone photography. Maybe that needs virtual staging, so I sort of look at the house, lay out what all of the tools are, and then I pick and choose what's going to be the best fit for that property. But be as specific as you possibly can and document as much metrics as you can. Like if you have property specific websites, talk about how much activity your property specific websites get. Put your agent statistics in there. What are your days on market? What's your list to sell price? What's the absorption rate in your area? Just a couple key metrics so that they can understand why you're making the recommendations that you're making. And this sort of serves as, you know, here's your listing resume, and based on this resume and everything we plan to do and where I think I can sell it at, here's why. Okay. This is an example of a seller's report. You can get these from your MLS, realtor.com, Zillow, probably your company website, all different places to show how many eyes have been looking at their property that week. And I show a potential seller this in advance so that they know this is the type of thing that they're going to receive every Friday. Even if nothing happens, if I get no showings that week, if I have no open houses, they're still going to hear from me so they think I didn't disappear. Okay, online views. This is talking about how to measure online views if you don't get those reports. How to read market stats. So here's the thing, I'm not a statistician. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I do, if I want to do any business, need to know at least a little bit about these numbers, right? So luckily for me, my state puts together monthly flyers and infographics on what's going on in the market. So I can easily do this without having to recreate the wheel. I just download it from my board of realtors and put it right in my presentation. But here's what I want you to know. The majority, and I mean almost all, realtors do not know what their personal numbers are. So if you are going to a listing appointment and you're up against 2 or 3 other agents, I like to be first. And I go first because during my presentation, I am sprinkling in that my days on market are 22. My list to sell price is 98%. Whatever your numbers are, I'm just picking random ones. They may not know to ask you those questions, but if you're first and other agents come in after you, they will know to ask those agents those questions. Okay, so know a little bit about your numbers. If you're a brand new licensee and you don't have numbers or you don't like your numbers, use the numbers for your office. Okay. Here's another great resource, which a lot of people don't know about. NAR, as part of your membership dues, has a library. And we also have librarians. If you are looking for specific statistics on an area or a niche market, like I'll give you an example here in Newport, we have docominiums. So we sell boat docks similar to how you would sell a condominium. There's monthly fees, there's budgets, assessments, all these things, only you park your boat there, you don't live there. If I was looking for stats on docks, I probably wouldn't find any very easily, but I could call the NAR team, they would research it for me and turn it around, usually in 24 hours or less, and send those numbers to me for that specific project I'm working on, or that subject property, I should say. So check out the NAR library. I always do a net sheet with sellers. They have no idea. I mean, I hear a lot of people like, well, how do you deal with commission objections and different things? When you're selling your house, you really just care about that bottom line, right? And when we're talking about percentages and, you know, they don't know what, they're not doing those calculations as you go. You need to do those calculations with them before you ask them to sign. Generally speaking, as long as that bottom number looks good to them, you're going to get the listing. So I always do this. Unfortunately, I can't share this one with you because your states are going to have different numbers. But you know, it also helps. I get all the time like, oh, I didn't know about tax stamps. This is a way to have that conversation in advance so that they know exactly what they're being charged for. I use a kids listing agreement. This is something that's on me, not my company, but basically for my families, if, you know, I have an agreement with the kids. So, all right, kids, mom and dad are selling their house. If you keep your room clean and clean up all your toys and do everything, you know, to help out mom and dad, when the house sells, I give them a gift card. So it kind of gets the whole family on board. Thank you notes. When I leave an appointment, my thank you note goes in the nearest mailbox. I write it inside my car, put on a stamp, and stick it in the mail. For Women's Council, what I will say is one thing that Women's Council taught me, sort of in my relationships at Women's Council, is I'm constantly reminding people where I do business, because the majority of, at this point in my career, the majority of my business is referred to me through other realtors, just because I travel a lot. So for me, I'm constantly having that Rhode Island reminder. So this is my return address stamp and my thank you notes and things. If I were to get a referral from an agent that's a member of Women's Council, I would send a note card with Rhode Island on it to remind them Rhode Island, Rhode Island. That's my family in quarantine. Wishing you a safe time. And that's really sort of the bones of this. Usually this presentation's got 30 to 50 people on it, and we open up the conversations. I don't know if you guys want to turn on your video and we can talk about whatever you're struggling with listings right now, and maybe I can help.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, I'm gonna just stop sharing my screen so I can see all your faces. There we go. Hi.
Hi, Shannon. Thanks for doing this. You're so sweet. So are you going to share like all these different things you had online, the checklists and things like that?
My slide deck. So I can, yeah, anybody that wants my checklists, just send me an email, shannonbus@gmail.com.
That's easy.
So SHANNON, B like boy, U, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, @gmail.com.
Okay.
I also have, which I'll send you, if you email me about that, I'll just send you a slew of things. I recently, and only work for attorney states, I put together 2 templates. One is for right after you get a contract on your house, here's what you need to be working on. And then another one for pre-closing.
Great.
So I've become very systematized. I'm a checklist person, in case you haven't
That's awesome.
figured that out.
I just have one other question. Well, probably not one other, but for now, because I want to give everybody else a turn. But when you said like you do all this research before you go to the listing, like you know, pull out the building permits and this and that, how long does that take? I mean, because here, I don't know, it depends on the town. It could take, you know, a week.
I've been doing, that's just the way that I was taught, to be honest. So I never knew any different. And I used to go around to the town hall. Here in Rhode Island, everything happens by town. So
Right.
closings and recordings and everything. But now most of it's available online. So I would just check like where you are. For us, we have a statewide website that we can access all public documents now. So I'll tell you the kinds of things, I'll tell you the reasons behind why I get all of those things, okay? Say I spend an hour getting all that stuff. Part for me, and I'm almost 16 years into this, you know, when I first started, like, you know, you want to jump on every listing and you'll just do whatever to just get a list. Now I'm like, this has to work for both of us. because I don't want a listing I can't sell. I don't want unreasonable
Right.
seller, you know. So part of it is I'm making an impression. You know, I show up, I have all this information. Not only do my competitors not have it because I can tell you they don't do it, but usually the homeowner doesn't even have this stuff, right? They're like floored that I show up with all this information. Clearly, I'm positioning myself as the expert. Here's a few reasons. I pull the deed because if I'm missing one signature, I don't have a contract, right? So say, for instance, I have 3 siblings that inherited a property and 2 of them sign a listing contract and we're working towards a closing. And then the title attorney comes back and says, hey, where's this 3rd owner? The whole deal blows up. Right. So I've just done all that work for 0 reason. I just spun my own wheels, basically. So I always get a copy of the deed. I also want to make sure what kind of deed it is, right? So I'm looking for red flags. Like if it says trustee on it, well, then I'm looking at a different thing here, right? Now I have to kind of shift gears. So a lot of times a seller is going to call you or that lead's going to call you, but you're not getting the full story, right? So this just helps me sort of peel the onion without dealing with the owner. So I'm sort of looking at it from all angles. So I pull the deed. I also want to see if there's any easements or restrictions on that property that might be an issue. I get a copy of the building permits because I want to see that the work was professionally done. I want to see what materials were used, who did the work, right? If it's a reputable company that just replaced the roof and it's a 1 layer and it's got, you know, a warranty on it, that's something that can help me market that house, right? But if I have an in-law apartment that's illegal and was a homeowner's job, well, I don't know that that should be on the feature sheet because that's going to actually create wrinkles for me, right? But the thing is, at least if I know about it in advance, I know how to market the property better. So I'm getting the right buyer, right? Where I live, we have a lot of old like beach communities where there were a lot of old cottages and stuff. So we still have cesspools here.
Wow.
Forget sewers. We're not even in some of these areas. These, you know what I mean? We have holes in the ground. So we have state regulations with all that stuff now and all that. But if I know in advance, and this happens all the time, and that's part of why I pre-inspect my listings, because they'll say, did you know this is a cesspool, not a septic? Well, no, I didn't. I asked the owner. They said it was a septic. They don't know. But if I know that as a listing agent in advance, I can get estimates on a new system. I can get, you know, plans made so the owner knows what the system looks like. We can escrow money. So I'm able to market that property completely differently, right? Than if I just throw it into MLS with a cesspool, right? So that's important. The rules and regulations, if I'm marketing a condo, I want to know in advance how are things voted on, right? Because, you know, are there owners in that building that own more than 1 unit and have the advantage in a voting situation? Is there money in reserves, you know, because that'll help me to market this property or not.
Now, are you able to get that on your own? Because
yeah,
I know a lot of the associations, not associations, but the management companies here, they will not even speak to you unless you're the owner.
You can have the owner call.
Yeah, they would have to get
they'll release them. But so budget and operating account and all that, you won't be able to access. But rules and regulations are public documents. Right. Those all have to be recorded. You know, the other thing is, can they have animals? Can they not? You know, I don't want to be showing property to someone who has a 50-pound dog and they show up and waste an hour of my time because they didn't know that no animals are allowed, right? At the same time, when something like that happens, I look at it and say, that's my fault because I should have known that. Right. So I'm spinning my own wheels again. So I do look at rules and regulations, and I think those are the major reasons having to do with condominiums. I look at surveys. Surveys are not required here, but they're very costly. So, you know, that's something that could make a difference. I look at trusts and make sure that, you know, the decision makers are who I think they are and need to be. What else? Tax assessments, floor plans. You know, if it's a newer build, you'll probably get floor plans without having to pay for them. Zoning restrictions, very common here if it's a multifamily home, right? If it walks and talks like a 10-unit building, but it's a legal 8, it's an 8-unit building,
Right.
not a 10. And it blows up all the time when the appraisal's done because the agent didn't do their due diligence on both sides, because that's something the listing agent should know, but the buyer's agent should find out. So both fail. And when the appraiser comes in and sees 10 ovens, not 8, well, you got to deal with it at some point. I'd rather deal with it before it goes on the market. Right?
Yeah.
So I know exactly what kind of buyer, exactly what, you know, issues might come up. So then I know how to deal with them and how to offer options. Right?
Yeah.
So that's part of why I do all of this. Part is I'm making an impression on the seller. Part is I'm trying not to spin my own wheels. I'd rather spend an additional hour up front finding out everything I can find out and then having these conversations with the seller about, you know, hey, here's a positive, here's a negative, here's how we can deal with it. What are you willing to do? And then I can decide if that business is worth my time and my investment. You know, I don't want to go out and spend a bunch of money on virtual tours and 3D plans and, you know, live walkthrough videos. And, you know, the listing I'm putting on tomorrow was $1,000 before it even hit the market, you know, and I'm happy to do that, but I have to feel confident that I can sell it before I'm going to just throw $1,000 out. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. So that's the type of due diligence that I'm talking about. And of course it's property specific, but all of those things are on my checklist. So you can have a peek at it if you ask me for it.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Who else has something listing related that they'd like to discuss? Throw anything at me.
Yes, you briefly, hi, Sandy Runyon. I'm WCR Ohio president.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
My best friend is a realtor in Ohio.
Oh yeah, where at?
Columbus, Gloria Cannon.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Columbus is a great real estate hub in Ohio.
Yeah.
You briefly mentioned virtual reality boxes as a giveaway. What is that? I've never heard of it.
So VR is like, oh God, what can I compare it to? I was going to say the Omni Theater, but that's in Boston. Yeah, it's like there's special goggles. That it's basically like a virtual tour, only it's very real. It's like you're in it. It's like you're standing in the room instead of watching the room. And so you have to buy a special camera to do that because it's a 360.
Okay.
Right? And I found one, a decent one, for about $100. It's probably going to cost you a lot more to make customized VR boxes because I assume you have to buy somewhat in bulk. But that may not be the case. I didn't get that far. But if you wanted to, Drew Coleman out of Portland, Oregon, is the team I referenced. You could reach out to him and ask him what he uses and where he buys his boxes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just found that really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, because I mean, I think, you know, I saw that. I think Drew was using VR before COVID came into our lives, but I noticed it you know, at the very beginning of COVID, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to switch up our marketing, you know, and
Right.
what are some things now? Because I used to do Matterport and all these things, and now everybody's doing it.
Right.
And so now I was sort of looking for some different options, because I always want to be a little outside the box and do something that my competitors are not doing, right? It's the only way to get noticed. So I really like that VR. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's just sort of a wow, and it's memorable, you know? So like if you have someone coming to your open house and you're passing those out, it's memorable. No one's ever
Very,
handed me one.
very much so, yes.
Yeah. So, all right, what else? You guys must have some listing questions or scenarios that you're struggling with. Nobody has inventory right now.
No.
And tell you what I'm doing, just a little lead generation bit, is all past clients, everyone in my sphere, whoever's in my database is they get annually a home health checkup, is what I call it, home health checkup. And basically it's a one-page automated evaluation. You know, you can use RPR, which is pretty accurate, and just say, you know, every year I plan to send out an annual summary of what your home might be worth. I'm not sure, you know, if you're in the market to buy or sell, or, you know, if you're thinking about selling now or in the near future, or maybe you would benefit from refinancing. You know, either way, give me a call. And you'd be surprised how often your phone rings, because people just do not have any idea what their house is worth. You know? That, and we've been going through expireds from like a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, because nobody's calling those people anymore.
Right.
Right? And the people that 3 years, well, my marketplace 3 years ago, folks that couldn't afford to sell can now afford to sell. So we're reaching out to those people.
So
What else do you want to talk about?
a question that I had earlier when you were talking about statistics and making sure you know your statistics and include them. I have not had a whole lot of listings, maybe, you know, ballpark would be around 10, but I've had ridiculously good luck with them. And so my stats say that I can get a property sold at over 100% every time for less than a week. And I'm a little nervous about saying that to a client, because that's a bit high, but like, do you have any advice about whether I should just go for it, or like a like maybe say under, my stats are under this larger amount of time that is
Well,
more
this
reasonable?
is what I would tell you. As a state president, I would tell you, check with your broker. You know, because you never want to send out sort of an out of the box marketing thing without running it by the broker,
yeah,
right?
because
Make sure
that makes sense.
And then on the business coach side of me, that's sort of no state lines. I say absolutely go for it, because agents everywhere are using, that's what you use those numbers for. You twist them until you find something that makes you look good, and you shout it from the rooftops, right? And in fact, that's what everyone does. You know, brokerages do it. Everybody does it. You look at the numbers and look and twist until you find the story that you want to tell. And so for you, I think that could be a huge head turner. And I would work with your broker on it and put out, you know, a mailing and maybe a social media campaign on it.
Okay,
you know,
thank
really
you.
Exciting. Good for you.
Thank you.
I almost am thinking of like a black and white postcard, but with like red letters, like, you know, my list to sell prices, or I sell properties at 105% or something.
Do you
And a call to action. Never spend time or money without a call to action asking them to do something. Right? What else? And on that note, I am sending out postcards with, I'm working on them right now, so I don't have a template to show you. But it has like the screenshot of my Matterport tour, a screenshot of my live video, a screenshot from a pre-home inspection to say like, here are 3 things that agents don't always invest in, and I do. Like, this is standard on all my listings. Because everyone's home right now, and like, guess what? People actually know what time the mail comes at their house now because they're paying attention and they've been living there. You know what I mean, though? I mean, that's like the highlight of your day is getting mail. So people are paying a lot more attention to snail mail. And so I've been sending it more.
I have a
Diane.
question.
Yeah.
Do you, in your, or anybody in your state, are you using in your MLS, the coming soon
We
feature?
are. Not too many people are using it. Most
No.
people are just, you know, putting it out when the time is ready. I'm not sure. We've probably had it for about a year here.
Oh, wow.
For me, I have like a superstition about listings, and you guys can all laugh at me, but I like to list property on Wednesday. If I can't list it on Wednesday, I like to list it on Thursday.
Okay.
Because when we're not dealing with a pandemic, normally, it pushes all of the activity to Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
And I'm trying to create buyer anxiety, right? So
Right.
I'm stacking those showings so that as one leaves, they see the other one coming in, you know? And so I like to drive all the activity to one time. With COVID, it's not a whole lot different. I just haven't switched my days because now I'm so superstitious about it. But you're trying to drive all that traffic to that initial, you know, list, so you get multiple offers.
Well, wouldn't the coming soon accomplish that, because you're putting it in the MLS, but no one can see it until a specific date and time. So now all these people are waiting for the day that they could come.
You should. I think it depends how much before you put it on. Like, we have coming soon. You could put coming soon for 3 months.
Oh my
3 months you can do?
Oh yeah, you can do it
Wow.
as long as you want.
Yeah, see, not in
I think it
Massachusetts.
just depends on the situation.
Yeah, not in Massachusetts. We have like a week. So you
Oh,
have a coming soon.
Then that makes more sense.
That creates the buzz, and then because of COVID, then you have your scheduled showings. Oh, sorry, President-elect Greater Boston and Central. And I do New Hampshire as well, but I'm President-elect for Greater Boston. But we do, and my name is Jacqueline, sorry.
We see.
But we do, yeah, because then after that, after you do the coming soon, then because of COVID, you have scheduled showings, which are intermittently 15 minutes apart, and that you have somebody coming in through the front door, exiting through another way, if possible, and with their booties, masks.
Yes, we're all going to be different right now because of COVID.
Right.
We don't
So
have.
we use the coming soon for that, to create that buzz.
Yeah.
And usually, because the clients now, when you have a listing, they only want people coming in at certain times. So it's either a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So you do your groupings on those 3 days, and that's it, and for the next weekend.
I will tell you, one of the things that I love about all of the video and virtual tours is that I'm doing more business right now with less traffic.
Me too.
Than I ever
Loving
have.
it. Yeah, loving it.
I am so much more efficient, and I hope that is here to stay. Because as a listing agent, it's huge, right?
Mm.
It's an hour out of your day every time you go show a house. And lock boxes are not huge here.
Oh, no?
I use them, but the majority of agents in Rhode Island are not on lockbox
So what do you do? How do you show the house?
in person.
Yes, assisted
I
showing.
know, but who's got to go? Who's got to
The
open the
listing
door
agent.
for you? So the listing agent has to go meet you to open the door? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't do that personally, but that's what it looks like here, you know, so it's, we're all kind of dealing with different things, but, yeah, so that as a listing agent here saves a ton of time,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm curious, I have a question. I put it in the chat box, but what do you guys all use? Because I'm multi-state. What are you guys using to keep your spheres all in one place?
You mean
know,
like a database?
for like a CRM, to keep it all managed, because you know we have our realtor to realtor sphere, we have our WCR, I do FIOPSI and ARIA, and those are all realtor to realtor, but each one of them requires different direct marketing campaigns, right? So just trying to figure out, it's driving me crazy. Active Pipe came on my radar, but I work for I work for Sotheby's, and I wasn't able to access it because evidently you had to purchase it through your company. But it
I
was a
use
fabulous
Moxie.
resource. Moxie? How do you like Moxie?
I like it, and it's provided to me through my company, so it's just as easy to use that.
Who
But
are you working for?
We're an independent, so I'm with Randall Realtors,
Nice, okay.
but you're in Mass, so we also own Kinlan Grover.
Okay.
I don't know if you know them.
I'm with Gibson Sotheby and with Four Seasons Sotheby.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's nice. Whatever real estate CRM you pick up is probably going to be fine. I mean, if you use it, that's the important thing, right? So most of them have like automatic email campaigns and stuff that you can assign your contacts to. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like my women's council and my realtor.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the automatic. I
Different
wouldn't use the
database.
automatic for that.
Yeah, but I send out different
Right.
stuff to my realtor database than I do to my past client database.
Correct, and you still are able to use Moxie.
Yep.
You are, okay.
Yep. I used, what is it? Top Producer before that.
And how did you find that?
At the time, it was great because it was really the only real estate centric CRM that was out there. But then we had so many options, it was hard to choose. But so what else are you guys, what are you struggling with? Are you competing for listings? Is it getting the listing appointment? What is it?
Definitely getting the appointment is harder than getting the listing once you have the appointment, in my opinion.
Yeah. My dad always said, we're in the business of appointments, right? If the appointment doesn't happen, nothing else happens.
Right.
So I've been trying to set 3 dates a day to just have conversations with people and sort of treat Zoom like it's a lunch date or like it's a coffee date, you know, just to keep in touch with my people. But keep making those appointments. Did you guys at least get one gem today?
Oh, yeah.
I hope.
That's great.
Okay. It feels
Not
so
romantic.
different presenting this way than in person.
Oh, God, yeah.
I talk with my hands and I'm always walking around the room when I'm in person. So,
Yeah.
great.
It's going to be
Well,
a while. Huh?
you guys have a great day. Don't forget to email me if you want my templates.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I see you, really see you in November.
I hope so too.
Thanks for everything.
Right.
Take care.
It was wonderful, Shannon. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Bye.